All right, in the studio today, Dell stepped off another room and left me and Mr. Lloyd Camp with Camp's plants to carry on with the show. So we're going to do that right now. Mr. Camp, how are you, sir?
Boy, I'll tell you what, I feel like a duck out of water right now since I come inside. About 6 o'clock this morning. I wasn't sure I was going to feel that way.
Oh, I tell you, we got limbs down, trash scattered in neighbor's yard, but everything at the house looked like I can clean it up. I'm sure some others weren't so fortunate. But
I understand there was a tornado over just north of Harrison, so they're having some cleanup over there to do. About 600 people out of power. So that's, we're very fortunate that we didn't have some more severe damage here.
And how are your greenhouses? Have you had a chance to go by them and check everything?
You know, it was dark when I left home this morning, so I really couldn't tell. But I didn't have anything that I could tell there at the house that was severe enough that would create issues.
Okay. Well, I guess let's just jump right on into the greenhouse. It's time. People should have their beds down. They should be ready to rock and roll. We got one more day getting close to freezing left, it looks like, and we're off and racing. What are we ready to put in the ground today?
You know, looking at the extended forecast, there's not a whole lot that can't go in within the next week. There is so many things that people don't think of as being frost resistant, that the way we grow them, they are frost resistant. Of course, everybody understands pansies are frost resistant. We do have a line of those there. But some of the things that they don't consider as being frost resistant, if they're grown under the right conditions. Now, you buy them from a box store where they push them along and try to turn them out of a greenhouse door within 6 weeks, it's not going to work. They're going to die if you get a real cold night. But we actually harden ours off to, I've had greenhouses that was as low as 14 degrees and no damage whatsoever on petunias. You've got things like the cutting style verbena, now not the regular annual verbena, but the cutting style verbena that really makes a show. They will handle that. Of course, the cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, those things everybody understands is cold resistant. But there is things such as lobelia that makes a beautiful, beautiful show that loves the cold. Agaranthemum makes a very, very beautiful plant. It's going to stand probably a foot, maybe 18 inches tall, and branch out and just make a beautiful, beautiful show. There's a lot of those things that you can go ahead and put in the ground right now, and they will love it. They'll set the root system, and as the season progresses, you're just going to have a bigger and bigger show all the time. You don't want to get into the warm season vegetables at this point. I would wait about a week on them just to make sure. Look, that 14-day forecast. I think we're looking from 15th to the 20th of April is the last average frost date. Let that warm soil go ahead and get up to 65, 70 degrees. All of your cucumbers and squash, all of the warm season vines, I call them, watermelon, all of those things, you need to kind of wait and let that ground temperature get up. And because otherwise, if you get a cold night, you're going to see them wilted down the next morning. But give them another week or so here, and they'll be ready to plant.
All right. Well, I guess at this point, it's just time to get out there to your place in Midway, and you say the one in Harrison is opening.
It is open. It is open. We're limited on supply. Highland, we are sending stuff over. We are limited on greenhouse space there, so we're not going to send as much over.
Okay.
But we're going to send the stuff that's going to take the cool temperatures. Okay. It's supposed to go over today.
All right.
So they're planning on unloading it tomorrow and getting it on display. You're looking at, of course, the 62 and the Midway location. We're not fully stocked yet. You're going to see some bare bench space, but that's all right. The ones that you see there is probably going to be things that's going to be hardy enough to go on out. If not, one of the help there can tell you which ones to go ahead and plant and which ones to keep in the house for a couple nights here. But my recommendation, we're looking here at this is Good Friday, Easter's coming up Sunday, and that's pretty well the kickoff to the spring season. I had no grower tell me one time, he said, I have timed my crops for Easter. He said, early Easter, early spring, late Easter, late spring. And he said in the 30-some years, and we're talking back almost 30 years ago that he told me this, he said, I have never missed the timing on a crop. Yeah, and I think he was right, because I've tried it ever since that, and I've never missed the timing on a crop. It's just kind of that way. But I would recommend, getting out and going ahead and getting the early baskets. We have got some of the most beautiful mixed wave petunia with verbena, wave petunia with the Shockwave series as well in them. Mixed with different colors. We've got some with solid colors. They're just now setting bud real heavy, not a whole lot of heavy bloom on them, but you can look at them and see that there's going to be literally hundreds, if not thousands, of blooms on those plants, because we've grown them very, very cold, so the root system develops. There is a time-to-release fertilizer in them, which really helps them to perform later on in the year for you. So I'd recommend going ahead and starting getting those baskets and getting those put out to where the front of your house looks like it is spring, and certainly have it set up for Easter, and any get-togethers that you might have would look very, very nice.
Now, are you going to be open on Easter afternoon after church?
Yes,
okay.
And I'm saying that tongue in cheek.
I understand.
Don't like needing to be, but those plants have got to have water 7 days a week regardless. And we've just kind of made a policy: if we have someone there, someone comes in looking for something, we'll take their money.
Well, okay? That's kind of a good thing on our end too, because you can always buy your wife, your mom, your daughter, just go out there and let them pick out a hanging basket, and it's instant gratification. A happy woman is a happy home. We all know that.
And I'll tell you, we're going to have here locally, now we're probably not going to at the Harrison or Highland store at this weekend, but we're going to have some buy two, get one free specials on some of this stuff, or buy one at one price and two for a cheaper price, some things like that there. So you might look at that. Some other things I didn't mention that works in cold weather very, very good. That's the alyssum. You've got asters that are just now really fixing to pop into bloom. They're going to be just gorgeous as they come into bloom. They're in 4-packs, so they can be used as a border or out in your flower beds and so forth there, and will look very good. Dusty Miller, and I have people that comes back and say, my Dusty Miller stayed looking good all winter long. And a lot of times it will. And if you cut it back to within about 4 inches of the ground, it'll come back up the next year. And I know I'm kind of telling a secret here. A lot of people just go ahead and plow it under, or hoe it down or whatever at the end of the season. But if you cut her off to about 4 inches high, it'll come out and make a beautiful plant the next year as an accent plant.
All right.
But it's an interesting plant. It's just foliage. Looks like a kind of a gray color to it, and boy, it really fits in well with a lot of different plants.
I'm curious to see that one. So, all right, I guess everything is ready to go. You got your veggies, got your plants.
Tomatoes and peppers are just at the right place now to begin planting. But again, I'd wait till next week to plant them.
Okay.
We're looking at a couple nights in the mid-30s here. Probably would not hurt them to go ahead and plant them now, as long as you're willing to go out and put your milk jug over them for a couple nights. But the soil temperature is gradually getting on up there. I don't know exactly where it's setting at now, but I know it's doing a whole lot better than it did a couple weeks ago. And the rain that we've had is good, even though I know it's going to be mudding some of your stuff in. If you'll mix a little bit of the super dirt or the mulch in with it to loosen that soil up. People don't understand what it takes on the root system many times. It's got to have air around that root system, too, for it to grow. If it compacts too much, that plant's going to sit there and it's not going to grow properly. And that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I have in the greenhouse. I'll have new help come in, and they will want to pack that soil down in the pot. And and I have to continually remind them, no, you just dig the hole, leave that soil loose, and just bring it up gently around it. Don't worry about trying to push it down in there, because if you do, you're going to compact it, and it's not going to grow off properly.
Yep, that's a big deal there in the soil. Well, I guess I'm going to try to figure out how to take a break here. I'm going to hit some buttons, hope everything works out all right, and we'll be back after this break. All right, Good Friday in the Ozarks. Hope everybody has a good weekend planned. And I guess we're just ready to talk about some planting some plants from Camp's Plants.
You betcha. It's that time of the year. And just one thing we hadn't kind of touched on yet, we have got just tons and tons of perennials. A lot of folks don't like having to plant the annual every year. Now, a perennial is a good accent plant, but I would say that you're probably going to have to put a few annuals around it to keep the color season long. But we have got probably 150 different varieties of perennials on hand. We've got 50-some varieties of herbs this year on hand, which is unusual. So now, I will tell you that the herbs are limited, and when I'm saying limited, I planted just enough to have six-inch pots of each herb for each store. So, if there's a particular herb that you want, whether it be lemongrass, whether it be lavender, whatever it might be that you'd like to have in a perennial that way, get on out and take a look on that and on the herbs, and get it early, because late in the season I have folks coming in looking for echinacea and stuff and it's gone. Because I don't want to try to carry it over from one year to the next. I'd rather start out with good fresh crop and have a nice beautiful plant. A lot of times if you try to carry it over in a pot, it just doesn't perform as well for people. So we just go ahead and dump anything at the end of the year, which generally may not be over a couple dozen pots that somebody doesn't buy. But get on out there early and pick out the perennials that you want, and you'll have them in the ground and well-rooted before the heat of the summer comes, and they'll just go right ahead and take off and go for you. So that's... one of the big secrets to perennials is going ahead and getting them watered in, and letting them go.
All right. Well, and you said herbs. I notice a lot of people now are doing the herbs.